Okay, everybody, I think we're ready to go ahead and get started. My name is Misty Corns, and today we're going to be reviewing the Workforce Ready Full Suite system. We're going to be reviewing it at a pretty high level, not going into too much detail. But during this webinar, you're going to see how the Full Suite system is going to help your company not just attract applicants and get lots of applications, but you're also going to see how it's going to make your employees' lives easier, just to take care of their daily task, as well as those employees' managers. You're also going to see like senior management's going to spend, once you guys decide to use the full suite system, you're going to see how administrators and those senior management team is going to spend less time filtering through just rows of data, using multiple systems, just to get really that insight to know what's going on within your company. I do appreciate your time today. I'm going to do my very best to make use of the time with the 30 minutes that we've blocked off of your calendar. It's a lot of information that we're going to be covering today. Hopefully we'll have some time at the very end for some questions. We are posting in the chat window a couple email addresses you can reach out to in the event you have a question, you want maybe more hands-on answers, and we'll definitely reach back out to you and help with anything that you have questions about. You can also use the chat window to type in your question, and we'll address that as long as time allows at the end. Okay, today we're going to start with the applicant experience. And so you'll get an idea of how that applicant might use the system. Then we'll go into the employee experience, and then we'll wrap things up with a manager and an administrator. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into the applicant experience. And with the Workforce Ready system, you will get a mobile app that comes with the system. There's no additional cost for the mobile app. You're going to get that. So I'm going to go ahead and just share my actual mobile app on my cell phone. So I'm just going to stop this screen share for a second, and we'll go ahead and jump into the mobile app. Okay, so if you think about an applicant, maybe they're on their cell phone, maybe they are, going to your company website. Regardless of where you have your jobs posted, the applicant would be able to click on a link, find that, find whatever jobs you have open, or applicants could even simply apply to your company. The example I'm using right now is an applicant's looking at all of your jobs, okay? So as you can, and this is brandable to the company, so your company information, pictures, things like that can be added to this, and each one of your jobs would be listed here. Okay, we do have an integration with Indeed, so as well as a lot of other options for posting your positions onto a lot of different sites. Okay, so once the candidate decides which job they want to apply to, they're simply going to review maybe more detailed information about the job. This is really your job descriptions, and then they would simply apply for the job. Now, Workforce Ready allows candidates to apply very basic information, very simple information without having to create a profile or an account, just by putting, first name, last name, uploading resumes, and then simply applying to the job. Okay, once that candidate has applied to the job, you as recruiters or hiring managers or HR professionals decide, you're able to review that information and then decide if you want to hire that person, okay, or maybe interview that person. And all of your communication with that applicant can be done right within the system. You're able to even do your offer letters within the system, your background checks, and then even hire that person with a click of a button. Okay, so once you hire that person, all of that applicant's information will flow right into an employee record. So that's going to actually cut down on your data entry process, maybe, cut down a lot of the room for error, things like that. So once you've made your offer, complete request that the employee approve the background check, you do your background checks, you are ready to hire that button. Again, a click of a button to do that. So with all of that being said, when you hire someone, what happens from there is the employee could be prompted to do things. Okay.
Hey,
so
Misty,
yes.
should we still be looking at your mobile screen with the login?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Perfect, thank you. So, so I didn't go into that hiring process that a manager would do. If you're interested in learning about how that works, definitely reach out to us and we can do kind of a more deeper dive into all of the options that you can do with that. It's really robust. Okay, due to our time, I kind of didn't plan on covering that. So from the employee experience, once that person has been hired, the employee can do everything that they need to do right on the mobile app, throughout their whole life cycle as an employee. So the mobile app does offer biometrics. So I'm not even going to put in a username or a password here. So I'm going to go ahead and just log in to the Workforce Ready system using the mobile and logging in with my fingerprint. So once I do that, I'm able to see my dashboard. And the idea behind Workforce Ready is to put everything right at the employee's fingertips, making it easy for them to do what they need to do. Okay, by virtue of doing that, your employees are going to complete the forms that you need them to complete. They're going to be clocking in, clocking out. So we're going to review some of those things. So as a new employee, I need to complete some new hire paperwork. I would have received an email saying, hey, you need to complete certain information, and given me directions for logging in, as well as where to go to complete the information. So I'm going to start off with clicking the bell item in the top right-hand corner. So these are items that I need to take care of. Okay, we see a My To-Do items, and then we see a My Checklist tab here. So under My Checklist, these are things that I need to do as a new employee. Okay, so as you can tell, I've already completed 86% of my new hire paperwork. As an administrator or as a manager, you're always able to keep track of where the employee is at in the completion of their paperwork, making sure that you are getting what you need. We can also set reminders, reminder notifications to employees to complete certain tasks that they need to complete. In this case, this new hire paperwork. So I want to go ahead and, as Michael, I want to go ahead and complete this checklist. So I'm just going to click the button, complete checklist, and it brings me to the next item that I need to complete, which is my direct deposit form. But if I go ahead and click this little drop-down button here, it shows me the other things that I have in my employee checklist. Here, as you can see, these are some pretty common things that new employees need to do. Review the employee handbook, your I-9 forms, withholding forms. All of those things are pretty important, when you hire a new employee. Things like the I-9 form, we have a lot of actually full integration with E-Verify. Because Workforce Ready is one single system, as employees are going through and completing this information, such as the withholding forms, once the employee submits these types of forms, you as an administrator or payroll processors would be able to review that and approve it, and it automatically updates payroll. So if you think about any of your forms that you have employees fill out, not just in the new hire process, but just in general, that information automatically will update once approved. Okay. Another item in here is benefit enrollment. So For new hires, maybe you want to include benefit enrollment as a process. You absolutely can do that. And as you can see, just by clicking on the button, it brings me to benefit enrollment section. We're going to look at this on a different screen in a few minutes, but employees from their new hire checklist could complete their enrollment. They could also, right on their dashboard, do this, which is what we're going to look at. Okay. All right. So that's just some examples of the new hire checklist. I'm going to pause to see if we have any questions. Okay. All right, so let's go back to the My To-Do items. Performance reviews. If you're using the HR module of the system, performance reviews is part of, of the HR module. So performance reviews are very custom to every company. You can have lots of different types of performance reviews. We can do peer reviews, things like that. But with performance reviews, you can see how easy it is to go ahead and review core values, and all of this is custom to each company. How you rate an employee or how the employee rates themselves is also custom. Again, all of this wording is based on how you want to review your employees. And at the very end of entering all of this information, the employee would be able to submit this, this review. Okay. All right, so we'll go ahead and go back, and I'm just clicking the back button. Now you can prompt employees to complete certain information. So maybe you have an employee a handbook revision. You can push out those types of items for the employee to re-sign and resubmit those. Okay, in all of these items that we're looking at right now, we can attach documents that the employee can download and allow them, things like the handbook acknowledgement, anything related to benefit enrollments and things like that. Okay, so I'm just going to go back. I'm just going to click the home button to get back to my dashboard. And from here, let's look at a couple other things. So we have a start widget. These start widgets help me navigate the system. Easy. So if I want to see something related to pay, I'm just going to hover over these. These are all things that I might want to take a look at related to my pay. These are all like favorites, if you will. Okay, now related to time and attendance, we could have a clock in and a clock out button right here on the dashboard if you want it. As you can see, I've got a change cost center button where maybe I'm allocating hours throughout the day to different jobs or tasks. We can do that. But let's go in and actually look at the current timesheet for this employee. A simple click of the word clock. There's lots of ways you can get to a timesheet. This is just one of them. From here, I'm looking at a summary of this pay period that I've worked so far. As you can see, these are all of my hours, the total of my hours. I could drill down and also look into, I could also look into the detail if I wanted to as an employee, but maybe all I want to do is clock in. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and hit the punch in button. Okay, notice this is asking me a question. Are you running a fever? This is a common, question these days with COVID. We can prompt the employee for any sort of question that you might want to ask them. So I'm just going to say I'm not running a fever. And hey, do I have any symptoms? Again, COVID related. I'll just say no. And this time I'm going to say none. I'll just say none. I can type in a comment. You can make those kinds of things required, and I'll say no. Okay, so now I'm allowed to clock in. We could have those types of questions give employee further direction if we needed to. So if they said yes, we could prompt them to contact their manager and not report to work. So those are some things that we can do with, what we call attestation. All right, so a couple other things that are pretty cool with the timesheets. After I've looked at my timesheet, maybe the pay period has has ended, and maybe I want to submit my timesheet. As you can see, I can hit submit there. Maybe there's something wrong with my timesheet. I can request a change to my timesheet. Maybe I forgot to punch in, or maybe I requested a day off that I really didn't want after it was approved. Okay. All right, so there's lots of things that the employee can do within their timesheet if they have that permission. Okay, so I'm just going to go back to my home dashboard here. And I'm going to continue to scroll down on my dashboard. Okay, so accrual balances. Employees can see those balances right on their mobile. Now, all of this is also available on a PC. The InTouch device can show some of this information and allow employees to do some of these functions. But in this case, we're just using the mobile for this functionality. So right from here, you can see that I could go ahead and see how much vacation time I have left, and then maybe I want to go ahead and request vacation. But maybe vacation is not necessarily what I want. Maybe there's a different type of request that I want to make, and you can see I have some options here. We'll just stick with vacation. All right, so I'm going to scroll down. It's giving me more information about how much time I have. And then you can see a calendar here. There's lots of little exclamation marks, and this is telling me the days that I can't request, or hey, if you request one of these days, you need to be aware of. So all of these little explanation marks and things like that is just saying there might be a problem with that request. Okay, it'll also tell me if I have the day off requested already. Okay, so we're just going to pick the 28th, and as you can see, it's saying, do you want to request this this day? I'm just going to say, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and start this request. So now, do I want to request a full day, partial day? I went ahead and requested a full day. Maybe this request is well into the future and I want to make sure that I have enough time. I'm able to calculate to see if I have enough time by the time I request that date. Okay, and then simply submit the request. Very easy. Now, what happens again from here is once the employee submits this request, actually, this is prompting me, accrued balance for vacation would be in the negative. So, it's going to prompt me for things that could cause a problem with my request. Okay, I'll go ahead and submit this. And once this has successfully been submitted, the manager would have received an email. Also, the manager would have received a My To-Do item. For the manager to approve it, which you will see in a few minutes. All right, so let's get back to our home screen here. And from here, I'm just going to scroll down. So my mailbox, again, that's the same thing as my to-do item in the top. If I want to take a look at my pay from here, I'm able to see just a summary, or maybe I want to see more details from my pay. Pretty small. I can zoom in on it and see the details for my timesheet or my accrual balances. Okay, and then the last couple things on the employee that we're going to look at is I can see my schedule, all of that, right here versus having to go in and look at the time off. And these are the benefit screens that I promised to show you right on the dashboard. So as you can see, I've already completed my new employee enrollment, 100% complete, it tells me that. But you can see that maybe it is open enrollment and I've completed it, but it's still pending approval. So it's waiting for somebody to approve that. Okay, and then if I'm already enrolled in benefits, I can easily see what coverages I have. Can also post announcements to the employee, and those announcements can be sent out by email and also pop-ups right on the screen. Text messages, things like that also. All right, so what I want to do now is I want to go ahead and stop sharing this screen, and I'm going to shift over into the PC version of the system. And bear with me for just a second while I switch screens. All right, let me go ahead and share now. So we're going to be logging in as Gary, who is a manager. Okay, so Gary, when I log into the system as him, you'll notice immediately the view looks very similar if I'm looking at my own information. So I'm on the My Information tab here. So I'm able to see the same information on myself that Michael was able to see and do, but I can also take a look at maybe my employees. If I wanted to navigate to employee information and take a look at maybe an employee's account. So if I open up Beth's employee account, this is an employee that reports to me that I have security permissions to see certain information on. So you can see I've got some tabs up here where I can look at payroll information. I can look at just basic demographics information on the employee, any HR data that the employee's completed, any job changes, salary information, all of that's going to be available easily to get to for the employee. Performance, performance reviews, goals, anything related to injuries, workers' comp, all of that can be tracked, schedules. So if you think about everything that you do on an employee, or that an employee completes or that you need to know on that employee, it's all in one place. And we even have some shortcuts throughout the system, like quick links. So I could click on this, and anything I have access to see, I'm able to get to. So right from here, I want to get to the employee's timesheet, or maybe I want to look at their pay statement history. I'm able to do that. And those same quick links are throughout the system. So here are those quick links. So if I wanted to see those right from here, easily get to those sections, making navigation easy. Okay, the next thing as a manager that I might want to do is just take care of all of those approvals, all of those requests that an employee might need to do. So here's my mailbox. Okay, this my mailbox is the same thing as the bell in the top right hand corner. I've just created right here on my screen an easy way to access it and an easy way to take care of it. So this is that request for the time off that Michael submitted. Everything's real time. So right on this dashboard, I'm able to open the timesheet, look at it, see what's going on with that, maybe view people that already have scheduled off. Also, maybe I want to take a look at the time off counts or modify this request. Or maybe I'm just going to go ahead and approve it or reject it. Okay. And you can do multiple things for each employee. So here's a timesheet. I can approve these or reject them together if I know that everything's fine with this timesheet. Maybe I don't know if everything's fine. I can, again, drill down and see a little bit of a summary here and then open the timesheet if I need to get further into detail. So making things a lot easier to approve and take care of what it is that the manager needs to take care of. Maybe I want to see what's happening with the timesheet without having to come into the My Mailbox. Maybe I want to take a look at Beth and see some details about her hours. Okay, so when I click this drop down, I can see that she doesn't have any overtime. She doesn't have any time off hours. She does have an incomplete record here. So maybe I want to actually open and edit that timesheet or approve that change request, all of those things. Now we have exceptions, so we can track your attendance. If an employee is scheduled and they don't show up for work or don't work until they're supposed to, to leave, we can track those things, or maybe absences and things like that. So really giving your manager the insight to know what's happening with his employees, not just the day-to-day task. Okay, and this exception chart is just one example of the insight that you can have on an employee. So we've seen job change history. We've seen, just a lot of things, checklist items, that need to be complete. So we can build charts like this that give you that insight into where things are within the system and within the individual employee. or the company as a whole. All right, so the next thing I wanted to get into is, let me scroll down on this tab. So managers can do increases for employees using the compensation module. So anytime you have annual increases or maybe bonuses, you can put those increases in the manager's hands right within the system using it's a spreadsheet basically to request employees to receive increases. The nice thing about this is you're able to actually, and I'll open up this annual increase, you're actually able to see budget information. You're able to see where the managers are proposing the employee be. You're also even able to see what the recommendation based on the performance review, where the employee should be. I could even open the performance review as you're seeing me hover over this. I could even open that performance review and see the details of that. Okay, so going back to the dashboard, just a couple more things on the manager, and then we'll flip over into the admin and look at just a little bit of things there, and then I think we're perfectly on time. Attendance board, it's important probably to make sure that people are at work when they are supposed to be, so managers can see who's actually in and out. Okay, I can see performance reviews and where they are in the progress. So again, these charts are configurable based on what's important to you as a company. Okay, scores, performance review scores by employee. If I wanted to look at that. And then this is some recruitment information where I'm able to, once I review applicants and I go through the process of communicating with them, I can put them in categories of like, this candidate's ready to interview or this candidate's not a fit. Okay, we can do automated communication to those candidates. We can do knockout questions that help with these kinds of things. All right, so let's go ahead and log out as a manager, and just a couple things I wanted to review as an administrator. And so I'm going to log in as Kathy. We have 1 minute left. Do we have any questions yet, Liz?
Nope, we're doing good.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so when it comes to administration, not just for HR, but payroll and just overall, just human capital management, like you need to know that your company is in compliance. These are some charts that I built just to give you an idea of some things that we can do. Salary, based on the individual jobs are important, based on the gender, that's a big topic. So this chart may look a little busy, but these charts are pretty cool because I can actually drill down into this data. So if I want to highlight this section here, I'm just drilling down to see a little bit more information a little bit closer. And then I could simply open this information by clicking on the report itself, opening this information, and now I'm looking at my employee information reports with even more insight into what's happening. Okay, now I can see male, female. I can see it by ethnicity. So all of these charts are based on what's important to you guys, but compliance is a big thing, definitely. Okay, now I'm just going to kind of scroll down a little bit more. So your EEO classification, termination details, trainings and certifications if you have any expired, or OSHA reporting. Here's your checklist. You can see I've got 23 that are open, those new hire checklists potentially. Okay, and then the very last thing that I'll review is on the payroll tab. Okay, I'm going to say again that these charts, if you think about any sort of report that you might need or that you want, And then think about why you need that report. What is that report giving you? We can build these charts with you and for you to help you get that insight. So related to payroll, maybe I want to know why I'm spending $183,953 on warehouse related to payroll, and what earnings and taxes and deductions is coming into play with that. So I can drill down again into this information just by clicking on the report and then continue to drill down into the data. Okay. All right. So I'm 1 minute over. And so I did say in the very beginning that I was going to try to not go over. Definitely reach out to support@beyondpay.com or sales@beyondpay.com for any questions that you have. And I do appreciate your time. I do appreciate you taking the time out. We will be doing these webinars once a month. So if you want to join the next one, things change with the system. We continue to grow the system. So definitely join those as you can. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.